Thank you for joining us today. I'm Mohib Yousufani, a partner at PwC. Today, I've got Colin Lenaghan, Senior Vice President, Global Leader of Revenue Growth Management at PepsiCo. Colin, thank you for joining us today.
Well, great to be here. My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to the dialogue.
Yeah, me too.
It's a very prompt topic these days on revenue management, given inflationary pressures.
Yeah.
The profit pools at risk, almost 15 to 30% of the CPG profit pools are at risk. And in these consumer product companies, you're also seeing a lot of volatility in terms of channel disruption. You're seeing consumer preferences change. There's a whole slew of price volatility going on. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you've captured it well. I mean, fundamentally, pricing growth has outstripped wage growth over the past few years, and consumers are reacting. So in our business, like many other industries, you're seeing a lot of consumers change their choices. They're making trade-offs in the store. You know, over 60% are trading up to larger packs, a third are trading down to smaller packs. You're seeing, of course, the growth in private label. You're seeing the retailers respond to that. They are actually not only competing on price, they are innovating as well, which is a huge challenge in terms of the switching, the duplication of products and brands. And so for us, it's really important that we have to keep on top of how do we gain penetration, for example, how do we rebuild transactions, because we are seeing the consumer move to other parts of the categories.
And what are some strategies that you've deployed recently that you believe are working? And with the advent of next-gen technologies that come into play, how is that changing the ecosystem of revenue growth management?
Well, it's really multifaceted. So portfolio is really important because you're really seeing for CPGs like PepsiCo that tend to dominate the mainstream, the upper mainstream, growth at the shoulders in the value and the premium tiers is clearly a challenge. And there is growth in both of those. So portfolio has to be articulated, and that's where you're seeing a lot of cross-functional integration where RGM is moving upstreaming into the marketing organization, into the consumer growth agenda, into the innovation agenda. That's a huge area that we're spending a lot of time on and we're seeing the benefits of. But we've done a lot of work really sharpening the pack sizes, the price points, really to access those consumer occasions that we know we have to play to, lower price point opportunities that the consumer seeks. And then, of course, you've got to get really back to your basics on your promotional management, your mix assortment optimization. All those things require this cross-functional integration, never that we've seen before. RGM moving from maybe 10 years ago, small teams of very good analysts that help to throw information into the organization, now working shoulder to shoulder on solutions, leveraging all the capabilities that we now have. And you mentioned digitization. That is pretty much fundamental to the whole piece.
What's the right operating model for large global consumer goods companies where you have significant presence, consumer preferences are different, market presence and regulatory conditions contain how and what you do and when you do this? How does that come into play, and what is the right operating model for revenue growth management as you continue to evolve?
I mean, we've learned the hard way around trying to do this all bottoms up with human effort. So one, I think there has to be a very clear strategy, you know, at the top of the organization around what role does revenue growth management play and what is it that we have to go off and do to unlock the growth that we see. The organization in the field has to be really equipped. So we have pretty much standardized the organization design in the markets, you know, upgraded the seniority of the leadership. In a lot of the markets, we have that now up into the GM as an example. And that's important because it's the GM who's the integrator in the market. It's not the RGM person trying to push that in. It's not the marketeer saying they want something, but no one else does. So that's been a real big unlock for us, and we're really seeing the benefit of that. So what you need is the individual in the field not to be doing work in analytics. You want the RGM leader in the field to be working with the commercial teams and the GM to design the strategies that are going to win and to help to change the execution. And the analytics teams where we have in centers around the world, those are then providing standardized analytics, digitized, as you know, that arm those individuals with, look, here's what the insights are saying. That then feeds the core process. It's a discipline within the organization. You have to invest in the people and the talent. Again, that is a challenge, but it's an area that is a constant around. If you don't get the right people in the right roles, the operating businesses, you really will struggle to see the benefits of this. Revenue management is still a little bit of a black box for a lot of people. And so you have to really prove out the value of it. And I think we have found that has worked incredibly well. That has allowed us then to go back to the organization to say we need to invest more. And then over time, you can get to a pretty scale operation that just becomes part and parcel of the way in which we grow our business.